K-12s, Ms. McIntosh here. I'm just going to quickly try and go over inflation and the ADS model, and particularly the term cost push inflation. So cost push inflation refers to inflation, or an increase in the price level, caused by a decrease in aggregate supply. So we have an ADS model here. I know it's a little bit wonky, but we'll make do. And what we want to see is a decrease in AS and how that causes inflation. So I'm going to show you a decrease in AS. There we go. So it's a shift inwards of the AS curve, a shift to the left, if you like, or a shift up to the left. You should always label very carefully. Right, there's an arrow. And just make sure this is a new AS curve. And then, of course, we want to show how that affects the price level in particular. So we're going to draw a line over to the price level axis. And just make sure that you label that carefully. It's an increase. And you also note that that decreases output or real GDP. That would also decrease employment as well. However, our focus is inflation today, or changes in the price level. So a decrease in AS will cause the price level to increase. And let's just have a think about why that is. Really, it goes back to scarcity. So when AS decreases, that literally means that production in an economy has decreased. There is less goods being produced. Output has fallen. And so if you think about that, we're here previously, okay, this is the economy's equilibrium, if you like, or current position. And when AS decreases, there's less production, there's less goods and services available, right? Literally, if we were at this price level, we would be like here. Okay, so think about like level 1 economics, excess demand, all right? But this is like the whole economy, and aggregate demand isn't just households, it's firms spending, it's the export sector, imports, it's government spending as well. And so the reason that the price level increases is because there's less being produced, so therefore there's less goods and services available, and therefore the price needs to increase to ration those scarce goods and services to those who need it. All right, so we have a movement up the AD curve, all right, in response to that less production as spending decreases, as prices rise to ration those scarce resources. Another way of thinking about it is it's called cost push inflation. So production in the economy has decreased because costs are rising. Wages are increasing, for example, or the cost of raw materials is increasing, say like petrol, oil, plastic. And so what that does is it pushes up costs for firms and therefore squeezes their profits, making them less profitable. And the reaction to this is to try and reduce their costs by decreasing production and therefore maintain their profit margins. And so as they do that, they decrease output and the price of that less or scarce output increases. Another way again of thinking about it is that they could try and increase their prices to try and absorb some of those increased costs, try and maintain their profitability. Not all businesses can do that. But either way, output decreases in the economy and prices rise as a result. Okay, and you have a movement along the AD curve as spending in the economy declines with less goods and services available, and we reach this new lower level of output, but most importantly, a higher price level. As costs push up price levels in the economy. Okay, so I hope that that was helpful for you. It's just a very quick rundown of what cost push inflation is. It's a decrease in aggregate supply. Before I go, just a little reminder here of what causes a decrease in AS. Sometimes people get a little bit confused, and I know it takes a while. So just a reminder, the things that would cause a decrease in AS are things that affect the cost of production, COP, so wages, raw materials, electricity, like utility bills and stuff like that, a decline in productivity, not production, productivity, okay, which is really hard to write with the mouse, so I'm just going to put productivity, that's not spelled right, okay, but you know what I mean, productivity, there's a U, okay, maybe technology has, machines are broken down, that kind of thing. So you're kind of going back to your factors of supply here. Okay, then you've got like trade, signing a free trade agreement, getting rid of tariffs. In this case, maybe a tariff has been imposed that would increase costs. Legal, the government's introduced, increase the minimum wage as a legal change. Made it harder to get rid of employees, that kind of thing. A really big factor for New Zealand is environment. Okay, so a really big one that could cause a decrease in AS is in the farming sector, the primary sector, bad weather, or a drought, which we have up in North Island right now. The environment heavily affects production in New Zealand and can cause costs to rise as they try and combat these things. So I'm just going to end with that because I know that a lot of you you're trying to figure out what causes a decrease in AS. It always comes back to these things here. Okay, so ka kite for now. I hope that has helped you somewhat to understand what causes a decrease in AS and therefore what causes what we call cost push inflation.